What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Escape the Matrix podcast. Here I am your host, Albert Powell, and we have a special guest here with us today. We have Jasmine Borders.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, a little bit about Jasmine, and I'll let her go into her spiel about who she is, where she's from, but a little bit about her. She is she's a program manager at the biggest company out there in the world, Microsoft. Let's not forget that. Let's make sure that we highlight that. Get it straight. Program manager for Microsoft, also a tech influencer. She's an entrepreneur. She's a founder of Refiner Agency. Is that right?
Yes.
So Refiner Agency is a digital marketing agency. So we're going to get into a lot of things in terms of what she does inside her work, how she got in, and what she's doing on the outside the office as well. So Jasmine, thank you for being on here with me. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So take a little bit of time. I'll let you have the mic. Obviously the whole entire episode, but just from the jump for a little bit, for intro purposes. Where are you from?
From Dallas, Texas, but from a smaller city outside of Dallas called Garland, Texas.
Already.
But I consider it Dallas. It's Dallas County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Whenever we have that conversation with people outside of Dallas, it's Dallas.
Yeah.
But people inside Dallas,
because a lot of people, they're not born here. So a lot of people, they move in. They don't really know what everything is yet. So that's what I just say.
Of course. Of course. Not a problem. I mean, I know you could have been anywhere else in the world doing anything else, but here with me. And I appreciate that.
Yep.
So, I appreciate your time and for, deciding to just join us here today on the podcast. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for this episode.
I am too. I love the vibe of all of this. First off, if you guys can see this room, this is so cool. It's decked out and everything.
Yeah, no, it's off the chain. We trying to build. That's it. So I know I kind of went into it, in your intro. I kind of want to give you the floor here. Talk about your role at Microsoft and what it is that you do within the company.
Yeah, so my role at Microsoft, I'm a business program manager. So I do program management, but from a business operations standpoint. And so I always say that my role has 8 different hats. Honestly, It's like a glorified project manager role in a way.
Yeah.
It's so different because a lot of roles at Microsoft, the business program manager function, they can really mean different things. But with my role, I do actually do content creation for my role. So I create video content and other digital assets that really just enhance the company culture. I'm on the readiness culture and people team. And so basically it's just really boosting the employee engagement in a way. So I make these really fun video content to get people more engaged. I feel like it's so needed in a time like this and the climate that we're heading right now.
Yeah.
And so some things that I have done, I actually made for example, Xbox just had their 25th anniversary, so I made a video to celebrate that.
That's awesome.
That went across my organization. And I also celebrate people. They've been at Microsoft for 30 years, so I'll create some cool, fun content. And it sets everything different from just having a PowerPoint,
Yeah.
It gets boring after a while, and so having that, I think it's a really good asset to really use video because video is really the future. And video is innovation to me. And so that's some things that I do. I also work with D&I. And so I'm responsible for Black History Month, Women's History Month, even Earth Day is coming up. So we're really big on sustainability, even accessibility. That's one thing that my organization that we are really big on, and so making everything more accessible for people. I have a deaf person on my team actually. So so I make content. I also make sure that it's super accessible for them as well. So it's really cool. I love my role. I have a lot of stakeholder engagement. I'm working with different teams and SBU units across all of Microsoft. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that's live right there. That's actually interesting. I didn't know that Chuck had a deaf person on your team.
Yeah.
I can just only imagine the dynamic working with somebody like that makes it interesting. And it
does,
also helps, grow everybody else. It's really big for diversity and inclusion. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's cool.
So
that's cool.
It's really nice.
So to kind of speak to that a little bit, so right now you're working for Microsoft. Like I said, it's number one. Some people, they say maybe number 2 company in the world, right? Obviously adopted everywhere. At a time like this, tech layoffs are obviously up.
Yeah.
And this has kind of been, boiling in the economy for a little bit, right? But my question to you is, out of all jobs, out of all places, out of all industries, how did you land in the big seat at Microsoft?
Man, my story, y'all, when I tell you, it's so non-traditional. Like, it's so non-traditional whatsoever. Sometimes I take a step back. I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't something, I mean, I always wanted to get into tech. Definitely after my, the startup company I was at. And so I can actually like go a little bit back of like kind of like how I got here. And so right after college, in college, I majored in broadcast media and marketing. And so I always had a big goal. I wanted to be a producer. I wanted to see my name on the credits. Like that was like what I wanted to do. And so after I graduated, I actually got an internship at CBS 11 in Fort Worth. And so I was doing commercial work for them, which was like really fun.
That's
like
cool.
I loved it. I did some commercials with like, Texas 21, like Mike and Molly, Two Broke Girls, like those type of like shows.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
cool.
I used to go on segments across GFW, and
Yeah.
it was so nice. But it was really hard to land like a role there. That was an internship, by the way. It was really hard to land a role there. They told me I need to go to Timbuktu, Texas, and then come back once I got experience. And I didn't want to do that. I was like, no, I feel like I'm good at what I do, and I want to work here. And so it was just really hard. So after that, I kind of went through like this phase where post-grad depression is real. And so I didn't really land a role right after college. That was like really like big for me. And so after my internship was up, that was about like 6 months internship. I was making $7.25 an hour, but I was great. Okay, look, I was grateful back then. I enjoyed the work, so I didn't mind it. But after a while, having conversations with my parents, especially my mom's, like, this is not something that's going to really sustain me, even though I love to do it. So I started getting my juices like flowing, like, hey, what can I do? And so one of my friends introduced me to somebody. His name is Michael Mapanga. He's actually a CEO of Afroland TV, which is a TV streaming platform. And so this TV streaming platform is for African content across the diaspora. So it's Caribbean content.
That's cool.
It's African content, Black American content, you name it. And so my role there was to be a chief content manager. Keep in mind, this role was sweat equity. And if anybody knows what sweat equity means, you are not getting paid at all. And so I knew that it was going to be a sacrifice, but I just saw the vision so much that I did it.
Yeah.
Although my parents are not really the happiest with me.
With
They were not happy. But you know what? I enjoyed the work that I did there. And I knew that it was going to go to my greater purpose for what I'm supposed to do in my career. And so I worked about a year, sweat equity, which was hard. I ended up being a server on the side.
Yeah.
Just to save and everything like that. And then Michael, the CEO, ended up getting like investments. So he started growing his seed round and everything. And then we started making salaries in the end of 2020. So I was making salary. I was grateful. I was making $40,000 a year. I was just grateful to be making something. But still, again, I was like, okay, how can I like move out my parents' house? I have to think about how I'm going to sustain myself. And so while I was working there, I enjoyed the work and everything. I ended up getting laid off in 2021. Okay. And so that was really hard for me because I was working there for, a year prior, sweat equity. I was, grinding, essentially, building up my portfolio. And so I was like, snap, like, what am I going to do? And so for 3 months straight, it happened in February 2021, 3 months straight. Wow. I was like, okay, like, I'm just going to like wake up every day like I'm going to work, because applying for a job and trying to get a job is a job. So every day, I'm telling you, I will wake up and I will literally apply. I kid you not, probably like 50 plus jobs a day. I will be in people's DMs like, hey, like, can I meet with you for like 10 minutes? Like, just like information. I was getting to know people, networking. I was going to like virtual networking events. I was doing everything. Yeah. And then I revamped my LinkedIn profile. Yes. My LinkedIn profile. So changed my photo. I changed like my headliner, and I knew that recruiters, they search up in the search bar is like SEO tool. So I knew that I wanted to be a project manager or some sort. So I like changed that up so I can be like jump to the top so that recruiters can see me. And basically, long story short, a week before this happened, I was like, okay, look, I'm done. I feel like I've been doing this for like 3 months straight. I'm not really seeing anything. I'm not really landing a role that I really want. I want to get in tech. After that, a week later, a recruiter that has a Microsoft client DM'd me and said, like, hey, this role will be perfect for you. Are you interested? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested in this role. And he said, okay, send your resume over. I didn't traditionally apply for this role at all.
Oh, wow.
So I sent my resume and my portfolio. my hiring manager saw my portfolio and was like, from all the work I did at Afroland TV, and keep in mind, the CEO at Afroland TV always told me that every work that you do, it will not be in vain. And I really took that to heart. I was like, okay, I think that this is really going to go to my greater purpose, like I said. And so they saw, because of the work I did, they saw that, and that helped me land the role. I went through the interview process so smoothly. It was like 3 weeks, and it was great. So, and that's how I'm here today. Started out as a contractor, and then because of the work and the impact that I was doing in my role, they made a role for me. So
that is amazing.
To be full time.
Right yeah, now that's amazing right there. Yeah. And you actually just celebrated your 1 year work anniversary not too long ago.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you on that.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I know it came really fast.
It doesn't feel like a year, doesn't it?
It doesn't. Not at all.
Yeah.
I just looked up and I was like, oh snap, I've been here.
That's kind of how time flies, right?
Yes, yes.
Man, but that's amazing though, because you really touched on a lot of things there. Some great stuff. One of the things I kind of wanted to highlight in terms of your message that you just shared with us. One, that post-grad depression.
Yes.
That is very real. Some people don't experience it. Some people, they just have it lined up to where, hey, once I graduate, I walk across the stage, going straight into a job. That's great.
Yeah.
But for a majority of people, that's not the reality, right? And you also talked about, in the midst of, you put in these hours in terms of sweat equity. That's one, very important. Yeah. Everything it is that you do will not go in vain.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that person, the CEO at, what's it called, Afroland
TV.
Okay, Afroland TV. I'm glad the CEO mentioned that to you, because it's true. Yeah. Not only just in that role, but in everything it is that you do, especially if you can go back and speak to it, because, it may not pay off dividends tomorrow, but in your case, eventually it will.
Yeah.
And obviously it did in a major way. You also talked about something I thought was so real in terms of looking for a job is a full-time job.
My goodness.
Man,
it's real treacherous out there, I'll tell you.
No.
It was the heat of the pandemic at that. It was hard. I was like, graduated college. I'm like, what did I felt like I was just thrown out in the ocean, literally.
Man, because it's like, it's a lot. And I've experienced it myself. Me actually just joined the tech industry. I was actually in the midst of, applying for jobs, but for me, I was also working at the same time too.
Yeah.
I had to work a lot of hours at that job. I'll put it to you like that.
Yeah.
Right. So in the midst of working a full-time job and then having to apply for other full-time jobs, it's a lot. It's a grind out there. For those that are looking to try to get into, break into the tech industry, it's a grind.
Yes.
No matter what it is you're looking to do. So it's not easy. But like you said, all the work that is you do will not go in vain. Mm-hmm. So that's big there. That's big.
Yes.
So
sure.
I know you talked about content creation as well. Talk to us a little bit more about, I guess, why you have this passion for content creation. Like, where did that start? Yeah, where did that start for you?
Yeah, so it actually started at a young age. I used to make, videos, and I put them on YouTube, and it will be, the unlisted type of stuff that I used to do with my friends. Yeah, nobody's ever seen those. But I just, it just grew because I just loved watching TV and just wanted to be, I just have a creative mind. I feel like I have an eye for things and how things look, and love video editing. So I think that's just where, I don't know. I just always loved YouTube. I would say I followed a lot of YouTubers, from a very young age, beauty influencers on there. Even people who are into tech stuff, like iPhones. I would just look at everything. And so I was like, I want to do that. But it took me a really while to get started because I had a lot of fear. Fear about what people would think about me, especially in high school and going into college. I would, in college, I actually bought my first Canon camera. And so that was a big investment for me. It was $700 camera, and I started buying equipment. I would film videos, but I was so scared to put them online, literally. And so it took me a while to actually come out of that and be like, okay, I really don't care what anybody says. I feel like I have something to say, and I don't know. I feel like maybe somebody can relate to me. And so that's actually how he got started on TikTok. I just started posting on there. I actually didn't tell anybody that I had a TikTok. And it made me super comfortable, had all everything just came down. I just started to post. I started posting wellness content. I would make tea and stuff like that. I was just trying to get my feel on what I like to do. And then so my TikTok really like popped off whenever, you know, I was just sharing my life. And then when the opportunity with Microsoft came in, like people saw my journey from beginning where I was going through, you know, like the post-grad depression, and I was trying to like figure myself out. You know, it just took off from there.
Mm-hmm. That's big. And I think for a lot of people that are looking to become content creators, they may be struggling in terms of, hey, like, what do I post?
Yeah.
But I think one of the best things that people can do in terms of just putting out content, if that's something that you're passionate about, or something that you want to do, is just documenting your process and just sharing it online. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that can look different for everybody. Some people's process or that journey can be, you know, hey, I'm trying to lose 20 pounds. Document that. Take videos of it. Have blogs if that's something that's, you know, that their medium of choice. That's one way to do it. Trying to break into tech, go from one job to another job, right? There's a lot of ways to kind of break into it, but I think that's probably the most, in my opinion, probably the most effective ways, because it's like you're telling a story in real time, and people love to like keep up with that.
They do, and also too, people love an underdog story.
They love an underdog.
I love underdog movies. Like you just love
do.
rooting for that person. People, they love to root for you, and just seeing that, like people were literally rooting for me. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. And with them watching me, it also inspired them that they can do it for themselves. Many people are like, hey, like I just landed my first tech role. People were DMing and commenting on my videos, and I was like, wow, like this is like really like helping people out there, like literally change their lives.
It is. Yeah. I agree. And so let me ask you this. So to the point in terms of building your brand, creating content, and now we're going to kind of focus a little bit more just on the TikTok side of it, right? So right now, you said you've built a nice following. You'll say a pretty healthy following. 46,000 plus followers. Nothing to sneeze at. That's a nice that's a nice amount of followers there.
Yeah, not too much.
Yeah. It's just something light. But so I guess talk to us a little bit about this in terms of what are you posting on TikTok to have all these followers just engage with you?
I post several things. So I do like career content pretty much like early in career. I definitely come across like I am not an expert, but I was telling you that a 7th grader can teach like a 6th grader. You know, so I just share with people what I know so far in my career. And so it's a career content. I do a lot of like lifestyle content. I just moved into an apartment a year ago, and so just documenting the process of me like furnishing it and just loving like this like, I don't know if you guys are on TikTok, but like soft girl lifestyle and all of that. So like I'm really like, big on that. And just showing that. I got a dog, shared that, you know, some people can relate to that. And I do have like a few like talking videos of like, you know, like 20 somethings, you know, people that's going through the 20 somethings and sharing that. I have videos that talk about my faith. I'm a Christian, and so that's really big part of my life. But yeah, that's pretty much all the content that I share for the most part.
That's awesome. And is this, I guess I'm trying to figure out how should I really frame this question. Is there I guess let me ask it like this. What's the bigger purpose as to why you've, built a brand and just kind of put that together? What do you feel like is the bigger purpose for you?
I feel like the bigger purpose is that it's really helping people. So really it's just the inspirational part of it. I feel like it's like the backbone of it. And just really being that person. I try to be that person I wish I would have had whenever I was like doing all these things, you know? So I feel like that's like the purpose of like my channel, for people to reach what destination that they are, you know, they have a goal towards. So,
man, that's awesome there. And you said this again, like a 7th grader can teach a 6th grader. Yeah. I absolutely love that analogy, because it's like, hey, you don't have to be an expert in whatever it is you're trying to showcase or build content about. You don't have to be an expert in that field in order to speak to it, right? Like if you've experienced something and it worked, you can speak to it. If it didn't work, you can speak to that as well.
Exactly.
So you can just kind of, each one teach one, right? Yeah. So you don't have to be an expert. And I absolutely love that analogy. It's just like, hey, for, people that are looking to get into content creation, either they're looking to just start, or kind of getting stuck, document your process, one. And then just also having the mindset that a 7th grader can teach a 6th grader. You don't have to be an expert in anything to at least share information about it.
Exactly. Yeah, I always say like experience is the biggest teacher. That too, and that's like the best. That's honestly where I share most of my stuff, my gems and stuff with people. It's just stuff that I've been through. I never really share anything that I have never been through yet. So yeah.
So here you are in a position where you're working a full-time job, and you're also doing content creation amongst a few other things. We'll get to that here in a second. But trying to balance between the two, content creation and also just working your job now.
Yeah.
How do you balance the two? Does it ever get like tough? Is there such thing as a balance? What does that look like?
I feel like I was telling you this. I feel like I go through ebb and flow seasons. I have seasons where I'm like everything is like in its place. It's all about prioritization.
Yeah.
And just being in like a flow state. I like to call it like a content flow state where everything like kind of works, like where I'm working, I'm killing it 9 to 5, where I'm killing it filming all this content, where I'm killing it, I'm managing clients on the side. Yeah. And then there's times where I feel like I'm not, where things I feel like, why is everything falling apart right now? And then I realize I stand up and I get back and I get in that flow state. So it's just, it's times where there's like highs and there's lows, and that's just like my honest thing. I feel like I know there are a lot of people out there that are like 100% like perfect at this stuff, but I'm just human, and I'm also figuring all this stuff out. This is like really like my first year last year's my first year where I profited my business, and first year at Microsoft full time. So I'm very new here. I'm like newborn. So I would say like I'm still like figuring it out, but I know that as I'm just now getting into like a better like flow state now, that I know like consistently that I think that the balance is like it's getting there, I would say.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And congratulations again. We're going to talk a little bit more about your business, but being profitable in a business is not easy.
It's not
at all. I know you can speak to that for sure in your own experience. Like I said, we'll get to that. But let me ask you this: in the midst of trying to balance all these things, what really keeps you going?
Man, I would say honestly, Jesus. That's the only thing that really keeps me going. Like every single day, it's just having like that hope to keep going. And as far as like content and like work and stuff, like, I don't know, I just have a goal with like, growing in the company and a goal to expand my business and like, also having a legacy like at this. So I feel like that's what keeps me going.
Man, that's awesome there. So to that point, in terms of you just in your process, in terms of building and growing your brand, what are some of the lessons that you've learned in terms of just this journey of being a content creator?
Man, okay, don't let those people out there lie to you to say that every single month, like, that you're going to be like 40K months and like all this stuff. Like, honestly, with the entrepreneurship, like, there's months that you're going to be killing it, right? And there's months that you are not profitable, like, at all. And so I feel like with being an entrepreneur, it is also like up and down. There are definitely a lot of entrepreneurs that are really consistent with that. But as far as being a content creator, the real deal is like whenever you make videos and stuff like that, if a brand reaches out to you and they want this brand deal, right? You can make, I don't know, $40,000 a month. And then the next month, well, you won't make that. And it takes about like 45, I think, like a cycle, 45 days to actually get paid. That money doesn't go straight into your account right when you do it. So it's like you'll make this content, but you have to wait on it. And if you really need the money, you're not going to have that money right then and there. And that's the reality with content creation. So
So speaking to that in terms of just like monetizing your brand.
Yeah.
You're monetizing.
Yes.
Your brand.
Yes.
Yeah, you said that pretty said pretty excited. So how are you monetizing? What does that look like for you? Is it through affiliate marketing? Is it through brand deals? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's through those two as well. So brand deals is like my main source of income. And so brands that will reach out to me via email or any like hosting site where they have like agency, like hosting sites that they will reach out to you for brand deals. And then I also do user generated content, which is same as brand deals, but you don't actually post this on your profile at all, which is, I think is great. So
hold on. I hate to cut you off.
Yes.
You said, say it again.
UGC content. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Say it again. So,
user generated content. So you will make this content for the brand and they will put it on their pages or they'll advertise it with their ad dollars. So it never goes on your platform, which I think is great for the content creator. So your page is not flooded with so many like sponsored pages, like sponsored
ads or
exactly.
whatever. Yeah.
So I love that. And so that's like the new thing that's like so trendy right now. Everybody's trying to get into it. And you don't have to have like the biggest following to be a UGC creator at all. So I like that. Anybody can do it.
I was actually just about to ask, like, how do you even get started in terms of being a UGC creator? So user generated content creator.
Yeah, I would say one, like you need to make a media kit. So really just like establishing like who you are as a content creator, having your rates and your prices in there, and doing outreach. That's like another way that a lot of user generated content creators, they do that. They'll find emails from these brands they want to work with and like, hey, instead of like paying, I don't know how much, like for like a giant TikTok creator, how about I'll charge you $400 to make this. Yeah. And you can do whatever with it, basically. You can do it like that. And there's several platforms, too, where people will sign up and apply for these websites. They have, like, it's so, not complicated, but it's so, like, I don't know how to describe it. So, basically, a lot of brands, they will, I had to use an example. Let's say if Apple, I don't think Apple will do this, but let's say Apple, they will go to these, like, agency websites. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, we need, like, we need content creators. So they'll put like what deal they need. Content creators will go and they'll apply for that and they get it approved and they get to be on that. Okay. So it's like you can do it like through like websites. Okay. That's another popular way. Yeah. I know it's like a really roundabout way to explain it, but it's like complex to kind of
I know we can kind of like get into the weeds a little bit, which you know, for the sake of time, you know, we won't get into. Yeah. But that's cool. I actually didn't know that was, you know, a market or I guess a trend that's growing.
It's really big. So yeah. Anybody can do that. But yeah, UGC content. I also do brand deals, affiliate marketing. So with some brands, they will provide me with a product and then I will share that product and I will get commission based on that, that said product. And I also do like Amazon storefront, like to know it. And that's like my passive content. And so if I do like a video and I was like, hey, these are all my Amazon stuff, people, they will buy it and then you just get that money passively. So, which is actually is a really like good, like passive income.
Yeah, so. That's my brain. The wheels are turning inside my brain right now. I got some ideas in my head. So that's cool. That's perfect there. Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, so I know you said you've done some brand deals. Yeah. Can you talk to us about probably either your favorite or your biggest brand deal?
Wow. Okay. So my favorite, I'll tell you about my favorite and my biggest one. Okay, I'll tell you about my biggest one first. So my biggest one was with Fidelity Investments. I don't know if you guys heard of them.
I've heard of them. Mm-hmm.
And so they had a brand deal where they wanted me to make content for millennial women who are in the age range of like 20 like to 25, who, you know, to get them interested into opening up a Roth IRA or some type of investment account, because a lot of people like our age, unfortunately, they don't really know that much about it. And so I was like, no, this is really good, because not only are my audience, they're really big into like tech and want to get into tech, but they, you know, they want to like, you know, grow their finances as well. Of course. And so, so I did that brand deal. It was about 4 videos, and that brand deal altogether was $10,000. Yes. And so just to do 4 30-second videos that literally took me like maybe even a couple of days to do. And I was like, this content creation is like, it's so crazy how much money you can make with content creation. Yeah. And so that was like one of the biggest brand deals. And one of my favorite brand deals, I'm trying to really think. Logitech. That was one of my favorite ones.
Okay, yeah, I know about Logitech.
Yeah, they did like a Women's History Month type of brand deal, and they were talking about, they wanted me to talk about my experience as a woman, especially working in the tech industry. Of course. And I shared that. Although like my team at Microsoft, we're an all-woman team, and my manager's a woman, so I think it's really great, but unfortunately I know a lot of companies and teams it's not like that. Right. So, but I was just talking about my experience, like, you know, overall, like in the industry, like being that, and not only just a woman, but a Black woman at that. So,
man, that's awesome. First off, congratulations on that on that bag.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So let's if we could, let's kind of explore into this a little bit more, and then we'll kind of switch gears and we'll pivot into like the businesses that you have. Yeah. The marketing agency. We'll get into that here in just a second, but I guess to kind of wrap everything in a bow in terms of content creation, why do you think it's important for people to start building their brand and start just pushing out content now?
Yeah, I just think it's just important just to start and just put yourself out there, like get out of your own way if there's something that you've been wanting to do, because right now we're not even at the top of it, because a lot of people would say that it's really like oversaturated, and really it's not, because if you look at it like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and all that, they're making like YouTube shorts. Their short form video content is moving, and it's gonna get it's even gonna get bigger now that we have like Chat GPT and like all these AIs, like, you know, like, so if you really want to start, just go ahead and get started. If you, want to work for yourself, because I know like that's a movement right now that a lot of people, they don't want to work a 9 to 5, and they kind of like, okay, like what can I do and what business can I make for myself? And content's a great way to start, I would say, of just like putting yourself out there. And honestly, I would say 90% of businesses, they need content creation to thrive, honestly. And that's just the truth of it.
That's a fact. And I'll add to that too. For people that are looking for like a blueprint, should I say, if you're working a job, here's a blueprint for you. Let's just say you're trying to get out that job, right? You're working that job. And truth be told, my personal preference in terms of the industry to be in is either pharma, the medical industry, or in tech.
Yeah.
Top two. You are working in that industry for a little while, but on the side, in addition to your job, you're also creating content. Reason being is because that can ultimately be a business, additional revenue or additional income for you, for that person. But there's no overhead. There's no other like crazy expenses. You don't have to put in all this crazy work to just like get started for startup costs, if you will. But if you want to start your own business, for people that are looking to do that or to start their entrepreneurship journey, one of the best ways to do that is just by creating content.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. Hey, working your job, create content, and you scale up your content so much so to the point where you get a lot of brand deals, or, you know, you may have a business in addition to that, and you can kind of, you know, take that job money into your business money, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And then, hey, at some point in time, if you scale up the right way, you can look at getting out that 9 to 5 and kind of being in your own world. Just kind of, the world is really yours at that moment in time.
Exactly, yeah. And I always like to say too, like having 9 to 5, I think it's good. I still have my 9 to 5. I don't really foresee myself like leaving anytime soon.
I mean, it is. You got a nice.
Yeah, and so, but I think, you know, it's really good because it's helped funding my passions. I would say like to keep a 9 to 5 until you get to that point.
Right.
So I know, like I said, like it's a trend that everybody wants to leave their 9 to 5 and everything, which I think, like, you know, like if you want to take a risk, you're young, you can. But I would say like having that security of having that job into really building it to your business or content creation to where you really want it to go. So it can really replace that and some, and you can just continue to do that.
Yeah,
so
I agree because there's a lot of people that kind of like to like poo-poo on the idea of having a 9 to 5. And I'm not going to lie, once upon a time, long time ago, that used to be me.
Yeah.
On the cool, just on the low. I used to kind of like, you working a 9 to 5, you know, whatever. Like, you should be looking to start your own business and ownership and this and the third, which is great. Yeah. But in a lot of cases and in most situations, most people should at least start at a job first, because you're going to learn a lot of things there, or at least you should be learning a lot of things there. And that's going to be your first business partner. I mean, they're going to be 9 times out of 10, they're going to be funding that business that you may have or want to start on the side. So that's a good point. It's a great point there. And to all those I may have clowned, not really clown, but to all those that I have
he's changed now.
I'm a changed man now. So it's the message is a little bit different for me. So I am very pro 9 to 5. I'm pro 9 to 5 now. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about this. Kind of going into your entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah.
In terms of, so in addition to the content creation, that's kind of like one side of it. But let's talk about this digital marketing agency.
Yes.
What compelled you to start this digital marketing agency? Like, why? Like, why did you want to start this?
Yeah, because I just wanted to help brands to, one, like, help them sell with their businesses, help them to get more, like, visibility online. And like I said, I feel like I have an eye for things. So sometimes I'll see a brand, I'm like, oh, I think they should be doing this instead of that, you know, within, like, their marketing and stuff. So that's what really inspired me to start my business.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Pretty simple.
Cool. So it's like it's a little bit of like consulting in there as well, right?
Yeah. So I do like social media consulting if they don't want to do like social media management, and then I'll do like full on social media management where I kind of like control all of their marketing. So I'll post for them, create content for them, and
That's awesome. What's if you don't mind me asking, you said you're now in a profitable position. You know. What has been your biggest month, if you don't mind sharing for the audience? Maybe transparent.
My biggest month, my marketing agency, I would say I had to go back because it was like last year. I think it was like 3,600.
36. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
For that.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice there. And it's all good. I want to make sure that we're gonna have security take you out, so no one's gonna no one's gonna go the way out. So we're gonna have security take you out, so it's all good.
Yep.
Man, no, that's
yeah. That, like I said, like it's a lot of like ebbs and flows too with like social media marketing. You know, like you will have like really good months and then that. But I normally with my my business, I do 3-month retainers on it.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So I guess to that point, talk to us a little bit more about just like the highs and lows about being a business owner. I know you said that, hey, there's not fast months, but there's really good months where hey, you feel like you're on top of the world, and then there's months where it's like, okay, do I still even want to do this, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit more about that and what continues to like drive you, I guess, to keep going down this path of just being an entrepreneur, just in general.
I'll start with continues just to drive me. I would say one, just like the passion like behind it, really also helps me keep me going. Yeah, I'll say that simple as that. That's really just like the passion that wants me like to keep going. Like with content creation, like that's that. And then like truth be told, like there's definitely with the ebbs and flows, like there's some times where like burnout is like so real. And like I went through burnout, like with my business, I actually was in burnout for so long whenever I started my 9-to-5 and I had like a whole ton of responsibilities. And then I was doing a whole bunch of brand deals for my TikTok and still like posting like every day. Y'all, like I had to, like I put my marketing business like on a hold for I think like 7 months. Cause I had to like tell my client like, hey, like I can't. And so I last cut that ended. And so, but I like reopened again. Like now I'm accepting clients because I have a better like flow. I'm like, okay, I feel I have a better balance now.
So and you said a word that I actually want to talk to, I guess talk a little bit more about as well, balance.
Yeah.
So right now you have content creation, you have Microsoft, you have this digital marketing agency. So you have a lot of things going on, right? And then you also have to just, mix in the fact that you're a person, so you want to be social, you want to live life, right? You want to do your own thing. How are you balancing everything?
I would speak as of right now. Like I said, like just to prioritize like what's like really like important. And so I feel like with my balance, with especially like when it comes to like my faith, which is number one, my mental health, like that's like my first priority, and my physical health. With like making sure I'm like active and stuff. That's like my number one priority because I realize whenever I'm putting myself first above like my businesses, because those aren't my business, my job and all that. It's not my identity. And so when I realized that, they kind of went down there and I really start showing up for myself more. And I realized I can be the best that I can. So I can show up for my businesses in those times when I allocate that time for that. And that's that. But I realized there was a time, I think it was in 2021, I feel like I was letting everything was like ruling me, honestly, at this point. And I feel like I was just so burnt out. Like I didn't have time for myself. I didn't have time for my business. I felt like I was just like getting behind with things. But yeah, truth be told, it's just like really just like putting yourself first altogether. I feel like everything like really falls. Putting God first, putting yourself, and then everything just falls into place.
That's awesome there. Yeah. That is awesome there. Jasmine, you have dropped a lot of gems in this episode. You dropped a lot of gems in this episode, and I'm very excited for this one to come out. And I know once we get the clips going, I'm gonna send them your way because we gonna have some content. We gonna have some content.
Yes, I'm excited. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, and again, I appreciate you for being on here with me and just sharing the information that you shared. I think it's just it was very beneficial for me because I learned some things that I had no idea about, especially the UGC content creator. Like, I didn't even know anything about that. So thank you for that. I'm gonna kind of put that in my back pocket, do a little bit of research on that, go down a rabbit hole with that one.
Yes.
And plenty of other things as well. But it's also big for the audience too, because a lot of people are trying to get into tech. We talked about that. People are also trying to start their own business. Talked about that as well. And then with their business that they're probably looking for, and at least in this case, it's probably gonna be content creation.
Yeah.
So that's amazing there. We touched on a lot of things there, and I think the information that you share is going to be very, very valuable because it was for me, and I think it's going to be very valuable to the audience. So we appreciate you for that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, most certainly. And so before we go, I just want to see, is there any last words, anything that you want to share for that person that's, looking to either get into tech and or that person that's just trying to start their own business? What would you share with them?
Yeah, I would say one, really just to get started. Not to be caught up in like the planning, but actually like get in motion, like and just get started. You know, not everything has to be perfect. You don't have to have the perfect equipment. You don't have to have the perfect scenery or apartment to start, doing stuff. I was living in my parents' house, okay, when I was doing it. And that's truth is, that's when my brand started growing. It wasn't super aesthetic. Who cares about the aesthetics? That stuff will come, but really it's like people care about, what you have to say and the information that you're going to bring forth. But yeah, just get started. Content creation and tech, making sure you're applying, take those certifications, connect, network with people. And that's what I would say first.
That's awesome there. Man, that's awesome there. So there you have it, party people. Another episode in the books. I think we have a classic here on our hands. Jasmine, again, I appreciate you for
yes, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you for being here with me. And so if you guys have made it this far, if you guys found this video valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and also subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and anywhere else that you listen to podcasts as well. So Jasmine, again, thank you.
Yes,
and
thank you.
To my audience, thank you guys as well. And until next time, y'all be safe.